It's Katniss Everdeen, the girl on fire!
The fire rises.
Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, released in 2014 and is directed by Francis Lawrence, who has directed such films like Constantine, I Am Legend, The Hunger Games Catching Fire, and The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. I guess that would make sense. If you're directing Part 1, hopefully the studio would hire you to do Part 2. What studio would not do that? And this film is starring Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, not Chris Hemsworth, Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, Julianne Moore, Donald Sutherland, and the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. I totally forgot that he was in this franchise, and I totally forgot that these were the last films that he worked on. Doing research before I reviewed this film, I saw that he completed all of his scenes for this part. So part 1, this is all him. But in part 2, there were like 2 scenes left that he had to shoot, and then tragically he passed away due to, I think it was due to a drug overdose, if I'm not mistaken. So those scenes had to be rewritten and reworked, but no CGI. He was not computerized in. They didn't do the de-aging or de-whatever it is thing that Disney does with all the Star Wars films. He was just written out of it. So it was actually very jarring watching this film again, knowing that. I just totally forgot. Katniss Everdeen is in District 13 after she exposed the Hunger Games for what they really are in Catching Fire. And District 13 is striving to build and energize a rebellion to take back the capital and to take down President Snow once and for all. Katniss, however, is very hesitant to take up the mantle as the Mockingjay and the face of the rebellion. But after seeing all the destruction of District 12 and all the other districts that stood up to the capital, she decides to don the costume, inspire the other districts to rise up, and sets up plans to save the rest of her Hunger Game tributes who were captured in Catching Fire. I really enjoyed the books. Reading them as these were coming out, I really enjoyed the first Hunger Games. I sat down at the bookstore, I picked it up because I had heard a lot about it, but I still didn't know what it was. I read the first chapter at the bookstore and I said, I'm hooked. I'm into this. Let's do this. From that day, I read the rest of the Hunger Games trilogy actually very quickly. I think it's the quickest I've ever read a book trilogy before in my life. And then when the films came out, up to this point, I was very impressed with the adaptation from book to screen. Usually film studios, they change a lot of things or they'll leave so many different things out, but from what I remember, the books to the film adaptation when it comes to the Hunger Games are actually pretty accurate, and they leave a lot of things in from the books to the screen. The first Hunger Games is all about just the Hunger Games. This is what it is. This is what happens. Let's check it out. Okay, it happened. Let's move on. But then Catching Fire came out, and there we start seeing all of the seeds being planted for a potential rebellion and the evils that this Hunger Games idea it can spread throughout all the districts. I remember walking away from that film thinking, was there anything that was different from the book to the movie? I don't think there was. I don't remember anything. Catching Fire was awesome, and it's the best film of this trilogy. And actually, it's not a trilogy because this movie fell victim to the whole bullshit of, hey, we have a trilogy of young adult dystopian futuristic novels, but we want to stretch it out for as long as possible and make as much money as possible. So we're going to turn the last book into 2 movies and just stretch it out so that the pacing that we've established with the rest of this franchise is just completely off. And that's what happened with this movie. But I will say, the first time I watched this film, I remember just not being really into it because the pacing was just so slow, and it's part 1. It's build up to nothing. You don't get the climax, you don't get the resolution until part 2. So I remember being disappointed the first time I viewed this film. Watching it now, though, I actually like it a lot more, which shocked me. The first 2 Hunger Games films are very, very quick. They're long movies. They're well over 2-hour movies. I think Catching Fire is 2.5, maybe over 2.5 hours long, and they crammed so much into that film, but I think they did it exceptionally. Here, because this book is split up into 2 different films, we have a lot more opportunities to go slow. We have a lot more opportunities to attempt to build up character more and to have those quiet, intimate moments between characters with this film and not cram everything down our throats. So I guess I understand the mindset behind splitting it up. It's still annoying though. Maybe I'm just a little OCD, but I think it's kind of nice when you have 3 books. You should have 3 movies. it's weird. I say that here, but I know Harry Potter did that with the last book as well. They split it up into 2 movies, and really the last movie I think is my favorite out of all of them. I just wanted that franchise to keep going and never stop, so I'm just a hypocrite when it comes to that concept, so moving on, I guess. But I like how intimate this film feels. I feel like we get a lot more just quiet character development from Katniss Everdeen. Jennifer Lawrence in the first 2 films just seemed very cold as Katniss Everdeen, but that's really Katniss Everdeen. She is a cold person. She's a cold character. She puts up a front whenever she's on screen being interviewed and trying to get sponsorships. That way she can survive their Hunger Games. But this character's true valor and true character is seen whenever she's put into a perilous situation. And that's what we see the inner workings of the rebellion start doing with her. We get to see how a rebellion starts getting fire and starts ramping up its rebellious tendencies. We need to have a face of a rebellion. But with this character, we can't just give her lines to repeat and say. She ain't good at that. And Haymitch says that in this movie. She ain't gonna do what you write for her. It's not that she doesn't want to do it. It's that she can't do it. So put her with what she does best. Put her out in the field. Give her a bow. Let her go rampant on the Capitol. So I like seeing the political side of a rebellion. We have, all of these tales of rebellions, Star Wars being the biggest example. There, we have rebels fighting against the Death Star. We have all of these action pieces. But here in this movie, they focus on, yes, we have a rebellion. Yes, we have action sequences. But here's also the political side of starting a rebellion and keeping a rebellion going. I enjoy Jennifer Lawrence in this role as Katniss Everdeen. I actually really enjoy Josh Hutcherson as Peter Millard. He's not in this film a lot, but when he is on screen, he is captivating. He's captured, he's being tortured by the Capitol, and you see just so much pain in this guy's eyes. He doesn't do much. It's just all facial reactions and all with the tears that he's able to shed. He is spectacular here. Woody Harrelson is always great as Haymitch. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's a fantastic actor, but I think he's just Philip Seymour Hoffman here, and I hate to say that because I know this is the last role that he ever played, but I mean, really, we could put anyone in that role, and I think we would get at least the same performance from another actor. Donald Sutherland, thank God, shows up here as President Snow. I remember thinking when I saw the first Hunger Games, saying like, Donald Sutherland, he's an old guy. I hope that, if they're doing this whole trilogy, hopefully he's still alive by the end, and hopefully they don't have to do, a Dumbledore with this franchise. Thankfully not, though. He's here for this entire thing, so he plays such a perfect prick of a president. I love it whenever he's on screen, even though he's an evil son of a bitch. I think the biggest black spot on this entire franchise is not Chris Hemsworth. He's so bland as an actor, especially in this role as Gale. He's just so, I'm devilishly good looking, or at least I think I am, and I'm the action hero, and we need to be action-y in this role. Action, me, not Chris Hemsworth. Right. The man has just never impressed me with anything that he's done, and I don't know why he keeps getting roles other than his brother. That's all I can think. The pacing is definitely off from what has been established in the previous entries of this franchise. You gotta expect that going in, because it's part 1. This is very slow. This is drawn out. We have a lot of shots of characters just walking away from the fighter jets, when really we wouldn't need to do that in the other 2 films. But because we're trying to fill time here, hey, let's have people walk to the plane. Or hey, let's have people walk to the building. Or walk to the room, as opposed to in the other 2 franchises, we would just have the characters there. And plus, there's no games in this film. We have a game in part 2, and then of course we have an actual Hunger Game in the other 2 entries of the franchise, so I think that's probably the biggest thing that feels off about this film, is that there's no games in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. But I do think it is a nice setup to Part 2, and in the grand scheme of the young adult novels adapted to film, I mean, this is definitely nowhere close to the bottom. Is it anything special? Not really. It's definitely above average, of course, but it's definitely not terrible either. I'm going to give the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I randomly select which movie I'm going to be watching next, so let's take a look. Collateral Beauty. Shit. I have actually put off watching this film for the last 5 years. I watched the trailer when it came out. I want to say it was like 2015, I think. I remember watching that trailer and I remember bawling my eyes out because I think that trailer was just beautiful. And I really wanted to see this film. But then I read and watched a bunch of reviews on this movie, and I just heard it's not anything like the trailer. The trailer is a complete lie. Don't watch this movie. And I didn't want to tarnish the beautiful memory that I had of the trailer. So I never watched the movie. But now I finally get to. I can't wait to crush my childhood dreams. So we'll check out Collateral Beauty next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you want me to do your recommendation as quickly as I possibly can and bypass the whole random generator that I have here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do. Just attach your movie with the donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1? What did you think about it? Where does it rank in your ranking of all the Hunger Games films? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Collateral Beauty. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.